really does stem 100% from the music. I mean, you can't do anything jumping about wise or physically, and unless you're motivated by the music in the first place, you really can't. Otherwise, it just becomes like dancing or being an actor or something. It doesn't really fit into the music thing. With us, I think it does. We just do it the way, without thinking about it.
Do you have anything like any thoughts on like the political state of things? Do you care to say anything?
No, we care to say nothing at all. It's not our job to make social or political comments. It's our job to entertain people who paid money to come and see us. We've got our hands full with doing that without worrying about things which we really honestly know very little about. Maybe in 5 or 10 years we might think, well, now after having seen a lot of things and done a lot of things, we qualify to make a few comments or statements about, what we think of things or how we think things should be changed, but, certainly not now. I mean, I don't even know how our country is run, let alone yours. Maybe it's my fault, for being narrow-minded, but, I got too much to do in other things than to worry about that. The other thing that I do worry about is when other people start worrying. It's sad to see that there's a very weird thing going on among young people at the moment who really get wound up in something that they don't understand, and they accuse the older generation of being narrow-minded about drugs and about sex, but they really have no idea at all how narrow-minded they are themselves. They could only see themselves as other people, as the older generation see them and as I see them, and they wouldn't think it was so much fun. It worried me to play last night at the Grandee. There were an awful lot of people there who seemed to be smoking pot and lying on the floor with women in various states of sexual agitation, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a private matter. And to lie about on the floor in public, either smoking pot or doing things with women, is gross indecency and offends me intensely. I'm damned if I think I should get up on a stage and try and entertain somebody who thinks that, like it's incidental music while they grind on the floor together or something. I find it really annoying.
I can understand that. That's true. People, when they come to the ballroom for any one of 3 reasons: to hear the group, because there's nowhere else to go, or to try and pick up a chick. And on different days, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you'll find it's a different crowd of people.
Yeah, it was different tonight, to what it was last night, but there was still a fair degree of the sort of sexual and drug thing, which to me has or a lot of musical stems from those things. Well, it does from the sex thing. I don't think any good music stems from the drug thing, because it's a first-rate joke. But to actually indulge in that sort of thing while you're supposed to be listening to music, or while you're paid supposedly to come to listen to music, is beyond me. If I ever got to listen to a group, I wouldn't even take a girl with me. I don't think. I just got to listen and sit down and listen. Having done that, I'd go away quietly and feel that I'd got my money's worth. But the whole thing seems to be mixed up. I don't think they know what they're doing.
They don't have their program together.
No, they don't. Still, I mean, if that's their way of enjoying themselves, I suppose they deserve a couple of years to find out whether it's the right thing. I don't think it is. Just play very, very badly, and yet people still sort of, this is good, you know. Maybe they've heard of you, or seen you on television or something. It's upsetting to think you can almost get away with things sometimes. You know, you start not to care, or you find yourself on the verge of not caring. The only thing that matters then is whether you get something out of doing it. You know, that's only a sometimes attitude. There's basically, it's nice to see people enjoying what you do.
In other words, you're not trying to convey any special message with their music. You're just saying if you can sit back and enjoy it, do so.
Yeah, right. You know, it's much the same as smoking a good cigarette or something. You know, if you enjoy it, then you know, say no more about it. Don't you know, analyze the situation too clinically and decide what's good or bad. Just sort of, if it's okay, it's okay. You know, if you feel that you've achieved something by going to see a group, you know, then by all means go. I don't think we have any. I mean, we're not sort of doing a John Mayall, you know, doing a blues crusade and pushing something that we fervently, passionately believe in, because we don't really believe in anything all that much, you know. I mean, we're just as much in the dark about music and about everything as the average person in an audience, you know. I mean, you probably know more about music technically because it's our job to know more, but you know, we don't sort of elevate ourselves to the position where we think, you know, we're going to be big superstars or anything, or we're going to be the best, the most highly rated musicians in the country. You know, I mean, if anybody, if the public should elevate us to that position, then it would be a little bit worrying. You know, I think we would begin to worry about things then. But at the moment, it's just like, you know, we do our job. It is a job to us. We enjoy it. The way some people enjoy being students or enjoy working in laundries or whatever it is they do, you know, so I suppose they must enjoy it. It's nice to make money. It's nice. It's a nice thought to think that you can make some money. Because if you know that you're going to make some money, you don't have to worry about it. It's one less worry you've got, you know. Whereas people who really sort of can see nothing ahead of them other than earning their so much every week, you know, really do worry about it. You know, we don't have to worry. You know, somebody else is paid to do the worrying for us, which is so it is worry.
On your album, are there any special cuts that you think, you know, really, really good or poorly done, or could have been better, or could have been worse, or whatever?
They all could have been done differently. As to whether they'd be better or worse, I don't know. At the time we did it, we just wanted to make an LP, which was honestly what we were capable of doing. That was more than 6 months ago, 7, 8 months ago. If we did it again now, we'd do it a lot differently. I mean, the next album will probably, I imagine, be a lot different to the first. But again, we won't try and run away with the album making thing and try and outdo ourselves musically. We'll just do again, you know, what we want to and what we're capable of playing now on stage, more or less. We don't. The first album was very quickly done.
How long did it
A lot of
take?
them, well, I don't know. We didn't spend a fraction of the time that groups like Traffic spend in the studio, because Traffic are perfectionists. You know, they really work hard to get a thing exactly right. We were after on our album just to to do the thing the way we do it on stage, you know, kind of first take or second take, you know. The problems we had in making the album were technical ones because we produced it ourselves and we knew nothing at all about studio work, you know, and we'd hardly any of us been in studios at all before. So we had problems which we solved for the most part. You know, production-wise, it's not really a very good album, but it didn't have to be, not production-wise, you know, because again, you know, we're just doing what we're capable of doing. It's maybe it shouldn't cost so much. Maybe it should be cheaper than other people's albums, you know, because so much work or thought didn't go into it, you know. We played just as hard and as intensely, I think, as Traffic too, but there's a different sort of a thing, you know. We weren't intending to be particularly clever or particularly exact and precise about how we played. We just wanted to play the way people had seen us play up until that time, you know. We didn't want to make it sound as if we were better than we really were. Yeah, it's all right, I suppose, you know, for a first album.
The title was like, you know, this struck me as like this was, you know, like it struck me as like, you know, this is how we were when we recorded this album. We may not sound like that on the next one. We may sound better, we may sound worse, but at the time this was recorded, this was Jethro.
Yeah, well, it's
is that the way?
It's
like,
a very sort of transitory thing, you know. It's just well, you know, you said it yourself. That's what it's meant to imply. It's nice just to do something and be honest with yourself and other people about what it is.
You enjoy recording?
Oh yeah. To rush it, like we did have to rush the first one. I did. It's good fun.
Do you plan any tours in, like, say, strange countries such as Czechoslovakia or Russia or whatever?
Well, nothing's planned. You know, we don't plan all that far in advance. If the opportunity came up to play in any countries or the places like that, then we'd go. You know, if it was down to playing to some more people, you know. I mean, we wouldn't be doing it because we felt that we were doing them a favour by going there. We'd just be doing us a favour, you know, just by seeing some more people. You know, it's all interesting to get about. If they enjoy it, then, you know, then it's been worth going somewhere. We wouldn't have any feelings about certainly for no political reasons, but for any reasons of we wouldn't make so much money there or anything like that. You know, we'd go if it was at least worthwhile financially. We wouldn't worry about you know, who was going to pay us the most if it came to deciding to go to one place as opposed to another.
Let's see. Does anyone have anything to say, like, you know, about anything, like on Cat Squirrel, like, you know, do you enjoy the arrangement you put together? You must. You wouldn't have put it on the album if you did. Right? Well, it's a rather, you know, like, unusual arrangement, I think. Like I've never heard it before, and like it seems like your beat and whatever is off and on. It sounds good. You know, I like the way it's played. But like, how did you come to this? You just played it that way.
Well, it was nothing to do with me. You know, I didn't even play on that. That was you. No, that was Mick, the guitarist that we used to have the time we made the album.
Oh no, there's been a personnel change since the album.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even know about that. Well, let's talk about that.
I haven't read your album cover properly.
That's probably what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, that was just the way he played it, you know. It was like something he enjoyed playing, you know. So we did that number. It was one that was popular on stage, you know, so we did it on the album for that reason.
Why did he leave the group? Any special reason?
Not only one special reason, but there were a lot of things, you know. A lot of things, you know, personality-wise, playing-wise, all sorts of wise. They all added up into a pretty impossible situation.
You do most of the writing. I'll repeat the question.
Well, you know, at the moment.
Do the rest of you plan on, you know, writing anything? Are you in the process of doing that? Like the composition, say, on the next album, do you have anything planned at all? Or is that just going to happen when you get around to it?
I don't know. It's probably a few things planned, yeah. You know, we've got some new numbers together, which will probably be on the next album. But, I don't know, it all depends when we do it, you know. We won't be starting, we'll probably be doing some recording over here, but we certainly won't have finished it by the time we get back to England. So, I mean, we might change completely by the time we go back, you know. We might do some altogether different things. On the other hand, we may not, you know. It might turn out to be just like the first one, I don't know. You know. It all depends on Martin, really, you know. If he gets some new sandals, you know, we feel he'll do a lot better. He's going bald as well, Martin is. Yeah, have you not seen that patch on the back of his head? You know, this is obviously going to be a sort of big ego thing to him, you know, ego-deflating thing, being a baldy. You know.
Alan Ginsberg image. These all bald people are really weird. They have this thing about their ego. It must be weird. And somebody's bald, they're going to be weird.
I wouldn't mind you being bald either, Glenn. Be nice.
You can have my head.
It's got a badge there. See? Well, that badge on your phone.
Support your local police.
Yeah.
The clean one.
Village doesn't look really nice for a ball big nose. Expecting a moon.
Well, it's the same with all these album covers, isn't it? You see people on LP covers, and you think, oh my God, no, he must be a raving nutter because of the way he looks. And they come on stage and they're really quiet, sort of timid little people, you know.
He really reminded me of the drummer for the Jaggerz Street before he passed.
Really?
Yeah. His actions, you know.
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard of
Who are these MC5 people that keep getting played on the radio? Are they good?
No comment. Depends on what you mean by that. They're like the number one local group always. In fact, they've been here longer, and they've been playing longer, and they make the biggest thing out of trying to push the scene. Like they're the only ones who were pushing it, playing for free for anybody who needed money, and things like that. And that's whether you like them or not. Lots of times. On stage, when they really get playing, you can't really tell what they're doing anyway. They're all moving around, and it's just a bunch of noise, but it doesn't really matter. And it's kind of like they were really trying to get into a Sun Ra jazz thing, you know. And it got branched off into making as many weird noises on the amplifiers as they could. And sometimes it's really good, and sometimes it isn't. But everybody, you know, it's the MC5, and like most kids in Detroit don't really care what they play like. And they put on a really good stage show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys here Tuesday night they're playing at the ballroom.
Oh, those people miss it. They really go to Chicago. Why do they say motherfucker? What does that mean?
Well, they're into a semi-belligerent, they're very into a political thing is what it is. Like, they want to create a revolution, I guess. They've gotten to the point where, like, they have a hawker who comes out and does a rap, you know, like, I want you to testify a bit and everything. And, like, you know, he says, you know, music is revolution, you know, and revolution is for the young, you know. Let's start this revolution. It'll take you 5 seconds to decide and get it together, you know. Start the revolution. Listen to this music. Let it get into you and start, you know, screaming and jumping up and down, fucking the streets and things like that.
That must be really annoying. Yeah. I'm glad we're going. I'm glad we're going to Chicago.
Well, it's worth the experience to see them once.
I suppose it is, yeah.
Like, and from there, you can draw your own conclusions.
I suppose it would make them very happy to know that it offended me to read the word motherfucker in papers which are supposedly on sale to the general public. I suppose it's just what they're after, you know. But, you know, I'm 100% on the side of the people who are offended by that because it offends me. It would offend me to let anyone that I liked or had any feelings about read the bilge that is written about that group, you know, all this motherfucker and the pony revolution scenes, you know, it's the people there talking about revolting against the people who want to revolt against the MC5 and everything they stand for, because it really is to me very sick and very pointless. You know, they offer no solution whatsoever. It's the old story again, you know. Revolt, but against what, you know, and what are you going to do about it?
Lose your chair.
Apart from fucking the streets, etc., etc. It's, you know, it's really sad.
Pointless.
It's more than pointless, you know. It's immoral. It's bad. It's just gross stupidity. You know, it really, really is so sick. They really make me sad.
Thing about it, though, is there's a very good chance that they're going to be very big. That's the whole thing. I don't know. And the thing that sort of upsets me is, like, they're really sort of ruining the music thing. Because, like, for everybody, because it's going to get to the point sooner or later, I think, that people are going to say, well, you know, it was bad enough when people first started having long hair and whatnot and started dressing in bright colors, you know, for adults to accept it. But now, after this thing, you know, like, if you have, you know, hair over your ears or anything, you're going to be just, you know, they're just going to go out and try and kill you.
Well, I mean, you know,
it's really a shame.
We feel the pinch of this already, particularly in this country. You know, that people seriously believe, you know, whatever you say, that you must take drugs and sort of associate with these groupie girls that you read about in Rolling Stone and things. It's all very strange. I'm sure they just wouldn't believe us, no matter what we said, that, you know, that we just have nothing to do with any drugs or stimulants or anything, you know, we don't do anything like that at all, you know, just what reason is there for doing it, you know, but they won't believe it, you know, they think that we must be like all the other groups, you know, because we look maybe the same, which is really sad, you know, because we're not like that at all, you know. I'm so much more in sympathy with Tiny Tim, you know. I don't know whether Tiny Tim's serious about what he says, you know, but, you know, there's a nice sort of compromise between the MC5 and Tiny Tim, you know, and that's about where I am, you know. I don't know about anybody else, but neither of those two limbs is getting you nowhere fast, you know. If anything, I'd be on Tiny Tim's side any day of the week. At least he doesn't do anyone any harm, you know.
I can't say anything about them because I don't know. I hear them, I see them, you know. But I don't know. I like their show. I can watch them and I enjoy them. But when I hear them, they hurt. They're just so loud. You've heard of the Blue Cheer? Well, the MC5 are louder than the Blue Cheer.
And what sort of amplifiers do you use?
Marshall.
Yeah.
They don't use as many amplifiers as the Blue Cheer, but they've got 2 guitars and a bass instead of just a guitar and a
and the drummer's got as much amplification as the cheers drummer. And they usually turn them up louder. So they turn them up beyond the point where the blue chair, like the blue chair, at least the people manager knows how high they can turn them up before the feedback starts cutting in unexpectedly just from the volume. And the MC5 usually doesn't care about that. Sometimes they turn, they'll set the amplifiers at about 5, and it isn't bad. Sometimes they play at 8 or 9. And, you just run your hand in front of the strings and the guitar and you get all sorts of feedback.
It's like, they are loud, they will hurt. Like, I went to hear them to, like, review their thing, and, like, I couldn't do it out in the audience. I sat in the office behind a closed door and listened to them, and then it wasn't so bad because the volume was cut down about 3/4. But, like, still, it was noise.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
all I can say. It's really bad.
Volume's no worry, if it's part of your music to play volume, I mean music, not music, playing silly blighters, I mean music. If it has to be loud to do it the way you want it, then there's nothing wrong with being loud. If it achieves something. I heard one of their records, the MC5 people, on the radio today. And they didn't strike me as being the sort of group that would achieve anything from being loud at all. A very sort of messy sound.
Getting back while he's doing his solo, and it's and you can't hear it. And whoever produced the record should get on there and get his name on the top.
It is. It's like you could walk into a studio or like.